In today's brief video, I want to take some time and talk about people's intentions surrounding the reasons why they smoke weed. If you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm someone who's personally once had a very healthy relationship with cannabis to then having a toxic relationship and getting addicted and all the drama that goes along with addiction. I own the company AddictionMindset Recovery Coaching, which is dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. I think if you're getting ready to quit smoking weed, or if you're taking a tolerance break, or whatever it is, you're reassessing your relationship with marijuana, you have to consider the intention behind your use. When I first started smoking weed, my intention was very straightforward. It was strictly recreational use. I was having fun on the weekends with my friends. We would smoke weed, and arguably, it was way better for me than going out drinking with my friends. I'm from Buffalo, New York, until 4 in the morning and getting in random taxis and, running around late at night like that. Arguably, sitting home and smoking weed was a safer form of recreational fun. And that's all it was when I started off. As my college career became more and more advanced, my doctorate is actually in chiropractic care. I had a lot of stress from school, and I started to use weed to cope with the stress of school, the anxiety of school, and you could argue to a small extent some depression that I was experiencing. So now I went from just smoking on weekends recreationally to using weed more in a medicinal sense, perhaps, or more as a tool to help me mitigate or manage stress and anxiety. And here we are once again. Weed was working quite well for me at this point in that regard. My grades were actually going up, which also may have to do with the fact that I wasn't going out drinking as much. I wasn't hungover like I used to be all the time. I started to actually perform better in college as I began smoking weed. My sleep improved. There was just lots of aspects of my life that had initially improved. And at this point, I was truly using weed in a limited quantities. I was not smoking every day. This was not an everyday thing at this point. Then, as more and more time went on, my parents' relationship got a little rocky. That eventually ended in a divorce. There was some other family things happening. And it's safe to say I was starting to experience more and more depression and anxiety. I was in some bad relationships throughout my college experience. Not all of them. Some of them were great, but some were bad towards the final years. I started using weed a lot more than I was in the past. Now I was also using weed in a celebratory manner. So when I would pass my exam, when I would pass a test, I was smoking weed. So now I'm smoking weed to celebrate. I'm smoking weed to cope, to deal with depression, stress, and anxiety. I'm smoking weed to deal with, for medicinal purposes, being predominantly anxiety and stress management and insomnia. Now I'm using weed for multiple, and I'm using it recreationally. So now I'm using it for multiple aspects of my life. I have multiple different intentions behind my weed use, and it's equating to daily weed consumption. And I want to pause right here and throw something out there for those of you guys that do use weed medically. I understand that, and weed has so many medical benefits, and I think it's awesome, especially when compared to other prescription medications. But if you're consuming it 24/7 all day long, like, is that really a good thing? And maybe it is in your case. Maybe it's that beneficial and it is a good thing. Just something to think about, because, we have other prescriptions out there. And when someone's taking it all day long, the question becomes, are you abusing that medicine now? And you can definitely fall into this category when it comes to medical marijuana, and we're seeing it more and more. So just something to think about. I'm not trying to upset people on that. I'm all for it. I fully support that. Just something to think about. What I want you to start to consider in watching this video is, what's your intention behind using weed? Is it to cure the boredom? Is it to manage stress? Is it to manage anxiety and depression? Is it for medical use? Is it for recreational use? Do you use it as a celebration or a reward? Do you use cannabis to escape? Because that's eventually kind of the direction I went into. I was using cannabis now to cope with a lot of problems that I was facing in my life. My grades were kind of falling apart, but I eventually pushed through that and continued to excel in school and my career, but it wasn't going as well as it could have been, that's for sure. My personal life was falling apart. My finances were really mixed up because of cannabis, especially when I was younger, before I was more and more stable in my career. So the question becomes, what's your intention behind using it? Are you using it as an escape? And if so, is it really benefiting you? Or is it just kind of burying you deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole at this point? I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer it. I just want to caution that if your intention from cannabis use today looks very, very, very different from how it first started, you might be at a point where you want to reassess your relationship with cannabis. Has it gone from a happy, healthy relationship where, you weren't ever thinking about quitting because there was really no need to now perhaps a more toxic relationship where quitting is suddenly becoming a daily thought or a priority of yours? Because if that's the case, chances are your intentions on why you use it have also changed, and maybe not for the better. So I hope this video helps you guys out and gives you something to think about. I'm going to head to the comments below because it's important to me to connect with those of you guys in this addiction mindset community so I can get a better idea of what videos to make in the future. So let me know where you're at with your relationship in weed and your intentions behind using it. Are you just doing it to escape and get chopped up? Or is there a legitimate intention that you're trying to accomplish? I'll see you guys there.